name is Simelina and welcome to Yoga Props 101. Just a quick rundown on some basic props that you will see in my videos and in classes if you go or in other people's videos. And I kind of want to give you a rundown on how to use them and their use and their importance to a yoga practice. So I have here a strap and two foam blocks. You can also have cork blocks. The biggest difference is the weight, consistency, the amount they can hold, the firmness of them. So these are not as firm. I've been using foam blocks since I started yoga. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the blocks. So for yoga you want, or for yoga you want two blocks typically in the front of your mat or somewhere that's easier to grab them. And for your yoga blocks, you have three main heights. So you have the lowest height, which is going to be your block is flat on the ground. You have a medium height if it's going to be on one of its sides, and you have its tallest height where it's going to be on the shortest side. So again, you have flat on the ground, long side, and then the short side. And the idea of the yoga block is to bring the ground closer to you. So let's say you can't get into a particular pose or you can't reach the ground in whatever position you're in. And that's perfectly fine. There's times when you can't get into a pose or you don't have the flexibility to get into that pose. And that is okay. That's perfectly fine. Just accept where you are and then just do small things to move forward. So I'm just going to demonstrate a couple of things with the blocks. So you've seen me use the yoga block as a support option as well, which is also something that I do very often. But to show you how it's used to bring the ground closer to you. So I'm going to go ahead and move into a lizard pose. So for lizard pose, you're going to have the front foot straight out in front of you. You're on a 90-degree angle and you have that back foot nice and straight. And the goal in this pose is to get all the way down to your forearms. And this is how you are. So you're all the way down on your forearms, you're lining up your elbows with your heel. And that's the goal. However, not everyone can do that. And that's where your yoga blocks come in play. So you'll line up your blocks to be with your ankle or with your heel, your foot, excuse me. And then you'll come back down to your elbows. Then again, you also have the three heights, so you can adjust as needed. Right? So you have your yoga blocks to bring the ground closer to you. Go ahead and get out of that. And it's not just in lizard pose. There's a bunch of poses that require the ground. Half moon pose, lizard, pigeon pose sometimes if you want to put the blocks underneath your butt or behind your back, wherever the case may be. So that is an option to bring the ground closer to you. Or in twisted triangle, you guys saw as well in some of my previous videos where I demonstrate using the block to bring the ground closer to you. So that is its main purpose for me and what I do all the time with the yoga blocks. The second biggest thing with them is support, like I said. So my favorite pose in the whole world is supported bridge pose. So if you were to use your block as a support option, supported bridge pose, you'll place your block, we're going to put it in underneath. So you'll place your block underneath where your sit bones meet. And as you see, so it's supporting my weight and I can relax more easily into this pose. So that is the second main purpose of the block, is the support option. You can also use the block, I don't usually, but you can also use the block as a lengthening option. Let's say forward folding just like this is too easy for you. You need a little bit extra length. You can put that block behind you for the extra length so you can have that extra, 2 inches, 3 inches, or whatever you need, that extra length in your forward fold or whatever position requires it. All right, so those are your yoga blocks. Your second thing here is your strap. I've noticed that I use my strap a lot in yin yoga. So when I'm moving into a pose that I have to be in a bind for a long period of time, that's typically when I'm using my strap. Also, when I'm trying to get into a new pose, so a pose that I've been working on is uh, dancer, but I'm not going to get into dancer because I have to stand up. So I'm going to show you another pose that I've been working on as well too. So I don't know what it's actually called. I call it the mermaid. I'm not sure if that's the politically correct term. But anyways, so the strap's goal is to give you length. So that is the goal for the strap. So let's say if you're doing a bind and you can't get into that bind, you would have the strap to give you that extra length, whatever you needed. So moving into a pose to demonstrate, you would start in this pose in pigeon, and then you bring the back leg up. And some people can bring this foot all the way up to their head. I am not one of those people. So this is where the strap will come in handy and allows them for extra length. So that is one option. Another thing is a bind. So like I mentioned, same idea, same concept is getting into a bind. So a seated bind, and I'll show you this way, or a seated option for this. So cow face arms are a, a, one of my favorite set of arms to go into. So for cow face arms, you're reaching from here to here. But not everyone can do this, again. So that's where your strap comes into play. Adding that extra length, whatever you need here. And also, like I said, binds. So I'm going to go into another little bind here. So let's say I wanted to twist and grab this foot, right, with this hand. But that's not in my grip. That's not in my ability, my power, my reach to grab that. So then you use your strap as an option for that extra length. So those are your main purposes there for your yogi blocks and your yoga strap. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. Thanks, guys.